right, just getting started. Okay, let's see where we. Ooh, it's way down there. Okay, check to see if we're streaming. And you have to definitely mute anybody. That's... All right, everybody is muted. All right, check. Okay, we are live and alive. Thank God we're alive. So we may be a little shorter tonight because I have to prepare, hopefully, to travel tomorrow. So let's chant. Okay. We'll just chant Jai Radha Madhava. Huh. Hold on a second. Okay. Wait a second. Close a few apps on this computer. Too much open. Hmm. Hmm. So Windows. Whoops. Okay, I think we're ready to go. Sorry for the delay. Okay. Jaya Kunja Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravanikacharya Ostuteta Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Savaya Chalanada Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai, Anantagoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Parem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavanam Ki Jai, Maturadam Ki Jai, Jagannath Swami Ki Jai, Yamunamai Ki Jai, Shrimati Tulasi Devi Ki Jai, Sambhaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Gaur Premananda Hari Hari Bol. All glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees, all glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shilpopad Ki Jai, Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Bhajani Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deja Tarani. So, let us go. Okay, let me read the translation. Lord Madhava, Krishna is the lover of Srimati Radha, and he displays many amorous pastimes in the groves of Vrindavana. He is the darling of the gopis and the lifter of Govardhan Hill, beloved son of Yashoda. He is the light of the inhabitants of Braja, and he wanders on the Jamuna riverbank forests. Okay, Jai Radha Madhava, and this is actually Prabhupada's favorite. It's written by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Okay, on that happy note, we will go to Krishna book. And we're coming to the chapter 49, which is ill-motivated Drtarastra. Hold on a second. Ill-motivated Drtarastra. Okay. So, Om Gana Timidanda Shah Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Meditam Yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master, His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who so kindly opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge while I was blinded in the darkness of ignorance. So, let's go on to Krishna book. We may be a little shorter tonight. Let's see what Krishna wants. All right. Let's see. Ill-motivated Drtarastra. Okay. Chapter 49. Thus ordered by the three... So remember, in the last chapter, Akrura was ordered by Krishna to go to Hastinapur to see what was happening because he was very concerned with the plight of the Pandavas who had lost their father. And they were living with the Kurus, and the Kurus were actually always making plans to kill them because they were envious. The Kurus means Drtarastra and his 100 sons, headed up by Duryodhana. Thus ordered by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Akrura visited Hastinapur, said to be the site of what is now New Delhi. The part of New Delhi still known as Drtarastra is accepted by the people in general as the old capital of the Pandavas. The very name Hastinapura suggests that there were many hastis or elephants. Because the Pandavas kept many elephants in the capital, it was called Hastinapura. Keeping elephants is very expensive. To keep many elephants, therefore, the kingdom must be very rich. And Hastinapura, as Akrura saw when he reached it, was full of elephants, horses, chariots, and other opulences. The kings of Hastinapur were taken to be the ruling kings of the whole world. Their fame was widely spread throughout the entire kingdom, and their administration was conducted under the good counsel of learned brahmanas. After seeing the very opulent capital city, Akrura met King Drtarastra. He also saw grandfather Bhishma sitting with him. After meeting them, he went to see Vidura and then Kunti, Akrura's cousin. One after another, he saw King Bharika and his sons Somadatta, Dronacharya, Kripacharya, Karna, and Suyodhana. So Suyodhana is another name of Duryodhana. Then he saw the son of Dronacharya, Ashvathama, as well as the 5 Pandava brothers and other friends and relatives living in the city. All those who met Akrura, known also as the son of Gandhini, were very much pleased to receive him and inquire about the welfare of their respective relatives. He was offered a good seat at his receptions, and he in turn inquired all about the welfare and activities of his relatives. Since he was deputed by Lord Krishna to visit Hastinapura, it is understood that he was very intelligent in studying a diplomatic situation. Drtarastra was unlawfully occupying the throne after the death of King Pandu, despite the presence of Pandu's sons. Akrura could understand very well that ill-motivated Drtarastra was very much inclined in favor of his own sons. In fact, Drtarastra had already usurped the kingdom and was now intriguing to dispose of the 5 Pandava brothers. Akrura knew that all the sons of Drtarastra, headed by Duryodhana, were very crooked politicians. Drtarastra did not act in accordance with the good instruction given by Bhishma and Vidura. Instead, he was being conducted by the ill instructions of such persons as Karna and Shakuni. Akrura decided to stay in Hastinapur for a few months to study the whole political situation. Gradually, Akrura learned from Kunti and Vidura that the sons of Drtarastra were intolerant and envious of the 5 Pandava brothers because of their extraordinary learning in military science and their greatly developed bodily strength, especially Bhimsen. The Pandavas acted as truly chivalrous heroes, exhibited all the good qualities of Kshatriyas, and were very responsible princes, always thinking of the welfare of the citizens. Akrura also learned that the envious sons of Drtarastra had tried to kill the Pandavas by poisoning them, especially Bhimsen. He was the one who was poisoned. Akrura happened to be one of the cousins of Kunti. Therefore, after meeting him, she began to inquire about her paternal relatives. Thinking of her birthplace and beginning to cry, She asked Akrura whether her father, mother, brothers, sisters, and other friends at home still remembered her. She especially inquired about Krishna and Balaram, her glorious nephews. She asked, does Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who was very affectionate to his devotees, remember my sons? Does Balaram remember us? Inside herself, Kunti felt like a she-deer in the midst of tigers, and actually her position was like that. After the death of her husband, King Pandu, she was supposed to take care of the 5 Pandava children, but the sons of Drtarastra were always planning to kill them. She was certainly living like a poor innocent animal in the midst of several tigers. Being a devotee of Lord Krishna, she always thought of him and expected that one day Krishna would come and save them from their dangerous position. She inquired from Akrura whether Krishna proposed to come to advise the fatherless Pandavas how to get free from the intrigues of Drtarastra and his sons. Talking with Akrura about all these affairs, she felt herself helpless and exclaimed, my dear Krishna, you are the supreme mystic, the super soul of the universe. You are the real well-wisher of the whole universe. My dear Govinda, at this time you are far away from me, yet I pray to surrender unto your lotus feet. I am now grief-stricken with my 5 fatherless sons. I can fully understand that but for your lotus feet there is no shelter or protection. Your lotus feet can deliver all aggrieved souls because you are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One can be safe from the clutches of repeated birth and death by your mercy only. My dear Krishna, you are the Supreme Pure One, the Super Soul and the Master of all yogis. What can I say? I can simply offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Accept me as your fully surrendered devotee. Although Krishna was not present before her, Kunti offered her prayers to him as if she were in his presence face to face. This is possible for anyone following in the footsteps of Kunti. Krishna does not have to be physically present everywhere. He is actually present everywhere by spiritual potency, and one simply has to surrender unto him sincerely. Actually, Krishna is present everywhere in his holy name. So all we have to do is say, Krishna. When Kunti was offering her prayers very feelingly to Krishna, she could not check herself and began to cry loudly before Akrura. Vidura was also present, and both Akrura and Vidura became very sympathetic to the mother of the Pandavas and began to solace her by glorifying her 5 sons, namely Yudhishthira, Arjuna, Bhima, Nakula, and Sahadev. They pacified her, saying that her sons were extraordinarily powerful. She should not be perturbed since they were born of great demigods like Yamaraj, Indra, and Vayu. Akrura decided to return home and report the strange circumstances in which he found Kunti and her 5 sons. He first wanted to give good advice to Drtarastra, who was so favorably inclined toward his own sons and unfavorably inclined towards the Pandavas. When King Drtarastra was sitting among friends and relatives, Akrura addressed him, calling him Vaichitra Virya. Vaichitra Virya means the son of Vichitra Virya. Vichitra Virya was the name of Dhritarashtra's father, but Dhritarashtra was actually the begotten son not of Vichitra Virya, but of Vyasadeva. Formerly it was the system that if a man was unable to beget a child, his brother could beget a child in the womb of his wife. That's called Devareni Sutopati. Actually, Vichitra Virya died, so that's why he was unable to beget a son. And so Vyasadeva had to be called in, and the mother, of course, was Satyavati. Satyavati is the mother of Vyasadeva, and also the mother of Vichitravirya. That system is now forbidden in this age of Kali. Akrura called Dhritarashtra Vaichitravirya sarcastically because he was not actually begotten by his father. He was the son of Vyasadeva. When a child is begotten in the wife of the husband's brother, the child was claimed by the husband, but of course the child was not begotten by the husband. This sarcastic remark pointed out that Dhritarashtra was falsely claiming the throne on hereditary grounds. Actually, Pandu had been the rightful king, and in the presence of Pandu's sons, the Pandavas, Dhritarashtra should not have occupied the throne. It's an interesting angle, because he's not the son of Vichitravirya. Akrura said, "My dear son of Vichitravirya, you have unlawfully usurped the throne of the Pandavas. Anyway, somehow or other, you are now on the throne. Therefore, I beg to advise you to please rule the kingdom on moral and ethical principles. If you do so and try to please your subjects in that way, your name and fame will be perpetual." Akrura hinted that although Dhritarashtra was ill-treating his nephews, the Pandavas, they happened to be his subjects. Even if you treat them not as the owners of the throne, but as your subjects, you should impartially think of their welfare as though they were your own sons. But if you do not follow this principle and act in just the opposite way, you will be unpopular among your subjects, and in the next life you will have to live in a hellish condition. I therefore hope you will treat your sons and the sons of Pandu equally. Akrura hinted that if Dhritarashtra did not treat the Pandavas and his sons as equals, surely there will be a fight between the two camps of the cousins. Since the Pandavas' cause was just, they would come out victorious, and the sons of Dhritarashtra would be killed. This was a prophecy told by Akrura to Dhritarashtra. Akrura further advised Dhritarashtra, in this material world, no one can remain an eternal companion to another. Only by chance do we assemble together in a family, society, community, or nation. But at the end, because every one of us has to give up the body, we must be separated. One should not, therefore, be unnecessarily affectionate toward family members. Dhritarashtra's affection was also unlawful and did not show much intelligence. In plain words, it was simply sentimental. In plain words, Akrura hinted to Dhritarashtra that his staunch family affection was due to his gross ignorance of fact or his blindness to moral principles. Although we appear combined together in a family, society, or nation, each of us has an individual destiny. Everyone takes birth according to individual past work. Therefore, everyone must individually enjoy or suffer the result of his own karma. There is no possibility of improving one's destiny by cooperative living. Sometimes it happens that one's father accumulates wealth by illegal means, and the son takes away the money, the money, although it was earned with great difficulty by the father, just as a small fish in the ocean eats the material body of a large old fish. One ultimately cannot accumulate wealth illegally for the gratification of his family, society, community, or nation. An illustration of this principle is that many great empires which developed in the past are no longer existing because their wealth was squandered away by later descendants. One who does not know the subtle law of fruit Did something happened? Did we go offline? Yeah, it looked like we went offline. Hold on a second. Oh, no. Yes, we went offline. Somehow or other, Zoom dropped off. Sorry about that. Let's go back. Yeah, somehow or other, Zoom dropped off. Let's go back to the text. All right. So let's go back a little bit because I don't know how much we missed. The contradictory ways of material existence are very difficult to understand. They can be taken only as the inconceivable execution of the plan of the Supreme, who by his inconceivable energy creates this material world and enters into it and sets into motion the three modes of material nature. When everything is created, he enters into each and every living entity, into the smallest atom. No one can understand the incalculable plans of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Supreme Lord. After hearing this statement, Akrura could clearly understand that Drtarastra was not going to change his policy of discriminating in favor of his sons. He at once took leave of his friends in Hastinapur and returned to his home in the kingdom of the Yadus. After returning home, he vividly informed Lord Krishna and Balaram of the actual situation in Hastinapura and the intentions of Drtarastra. Akrura was sent to Hastinapura by Krishna to study these, and by the grace of the Lord, he was successful. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 49th chapter of Krishna, Ill-Motivated Drtarastra. So, because I said we're going to keep this short. Oh, further back than that? Anyway, you'll just have to fill in the gaps. So because I said we're going to keep this short, we're going to stop sharing and we're going to take some questions for a few minutes. All right. Hold on, I got to set this up again. All right, so hold on a second. Because we had dropped off before, I just have to adjust a few things. Okay, so if anyone has any questions or comments, you can type in the chat window, or you can raise your hand, or you can unmute yourself. Does anyone have any questions or comments?
Please accept my obeisance, Shri Gurudev.
Yes, Gopal.
Drtarastra obviously had a strong understanding of the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the material world, the law of karma, but he was actually using that to almost justify his nefarious actions. So how do we as neophyte devotees guard against that happening to us in our hearts?
So the way we guard against is by having association with other Vaishnavas who can actually check us and correct us. Like I see this all the time with devotees, oh, Maya is very strong. Maya made me do it. Krishna says, this material energy of mine is impossible to overcome. They don't mention that part. But one who surrenders unto Krishna can actually easily overcome it. But anyway, so the association of devotees. So when we see someone making excuses, this is the Lord's plan for me being Maya, and I have to learn my lessons. And then we just say, Prabhu, that's nonsense. Snap out of it.
So here Akrura is kind of saying that to Drtarastra, but Drtarastra is continuing with his excuse making.
Yes. So Upadesho hi murkanam prakopayana shantiye. So we understand that Akrura understands that if you give a fool good instructions, it'll just make him angry. He understands how far he can get, how much he can get away with. That's why.
Thank you, Gurudev.
Okay. Any other questions? Questions, comments, problems, issues? No. All right. So, oh, one question. Okay, here's a question. Hold on a second. This is from Manu. Okay. Hare Krishna, Maharaji. I'm happy to see you. You removed the bandage. I'm going to remove the bandage from my heart. Anyway, we see so many Dhritarastras in our life. Oh my God, you're in trouble. How can we protect our mind so that without disturbance we can focus on Krishna's names and pastimes? I think you gave the answer right there. You keep the holy name always going in your mind. So when you're in touch with a mini Dhritarashtra, you just go, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Not moving your lips, because that would be, anyway, someone may want to put you in a mental institution if you move your lips. But if you, and not speak, I mean, or they're thinking you're having an epileptic fit. So, you keep when you're coming in touch, you keep focused on Krishna. Usually I find the best way to keep focused on Krishna is remembering his holy names at all times. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Hare. That's my personal realization. How about that one? Personal realization. Okay. What happened to Srimati Radharani after Krishna went to Dwaraka? Srimati Radharani remained in Vrindavan, feeling separation from Krishna. And later on, they met in the battle on the field in Kurukshetra, not in the battle, but in the field during the eclipse. And she was lamenting the whole time, but she remained in Vrindavan the whole time, yes. And in complete agony / ecstasy. And it's hard for me to understand these things. She was always in touch with Krishna. Krishna never left Vrindavan. We say that Krishna left Vrindavan, but Brajendranandana Krishna never left Vrindavan, but he always manifested himself, maintained himself in Vrindavan in an unmanifest, unseen form. And also in his remembrance, also in his holy name, also in his devotees. So, Krishna's always there in Vrindavan. Okay. Okay, good question. Okay, thank you very much. All glories to his divine grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Srila Prabhupada ki